Welcome to Cujo Sound and Game Audio Talk. Let's talk about The Last of Us Part 2. A quick disclaimer before we even get started here is that Game Audio Talk is a series of videos where I play a game and discuss its audio features and try to decipher how it's made and analyze various audio settings. I did not work on this game, so my analysis of the game audio may not be the way it's actually made, and I'm in no way trying to or entitled to find bugs or bash review this game. This is strictly about audio and how I as a professional sound designer think it's made. And a second very important disclaimer here is that I try to keep these videos as spoiler free as possible, but since the game will show actual game footage, then if you haven't played the game yet, I strongly encourage you to do so before watching these videos. Now, let's get to it and talk about The Last of Us Part 2. In this video, we'll be talking about the ambient sound setup.
Fuck it.
The ambient setups in The Last of Us Part 2 is quite nice.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure they'll be happy to offer that information up.
Well, then we make them.
The way the whole game sounds and plays is good, and you do get a flowing feeling when moving about.
I don't give a fuck. I'll do the whole thing on my own.
But as always, there are places or way to notice a couple of things. One of the best and probably easiest ways to get a game sounding smooth and natural when it comes to ambient sounds is to make them believable, and quite importantly, to get your reverberation fit the current setup. Lots of games uses reverb boxes where you simply mark an area and say, this area is using reverb small, large, or whatever. Some also use convolution reverb systems where you may be setting some core information on the box that you just placed around the world, like small, medium, and large, but this box could potentially figure out on its own how to make an area sound. This is also covered quite well in my series about Red Dead Redemption 2. So if the decay of the reverberation fits the size of the room perfectly, then the most important thing is to get your early reflections right. Some like to split this up and mark areas in a more granular fashion. So a small area like this is marked as reverberation size small, material metal, and it uses a 2-meter perimeter early reflection buzz. But this could also just be a marked up area telling the game that this area is an area of its own, and as you enter it, it calculates the size and whatnot there is to calculate about it. And for every step we take, it could calculate with rays or other measures what are the closest 10 reflection points around the player. Some like to filter these points and remove the 2 closest and the 2 furthest points, and then use every second of these points and then have sound spawn on these locations, or use these to calculate the direction of the early reflection. In this way, if you take a step or fire a weapon in an open space, it will get the tail that you set in your reverb setup, and the early reflections will be calculated like I just mentioned. Meaning that if you're in a corner, you will have a nice fast early reflection, making it sound a little more roomy.
Go on, girl, get her! I know you're out there! Hook on!
Or if you're further away, then perhaps there is no early reflection, or a different way of playing it back, just like in Red Dead Redemption 2. One thing that I notice in particular about the overall ambient sounds in various areas is that they seem to fade in and out a lot between various layers and various emitters. This means that the sound of water when indoors is the same sound as when you go outdoors and closer to it, and vice versa, meaning that the overall looping effect and the way that it works is quite seamless. This is a fine way of doing it, but as always, we need some examples. One of them is here, where we can walk through here and notice how the sound fades in a little fast. This is either because the system prevents the water from playing because there is some sort of occlusion setup or similar, or the filter that makes the water almost inaudible is triggered once we are through this part of the game. This also means that in this specific area, when we walk back and the filter kicks in the opposite way, it becomes quite obvious and you can clearly hear where the filter kicks in. Here in the game, we are walking around this tower and stairs here, which means that we are under a roof, but this weird indoor-outdoor scenario. Notice how the various sounds are coming from their respective locations but fade nicely in and out with a filter instead of just volume over distance as we walk around the tower.
Not making that.
All this, except when we break it down and directly notice the filters that kick in and out, then this provides a great ambient experience that really makes the game flow well in terms of ambience. This is a very different way of doing it rather than marking areas and having a unique audio file play when you enter an area. No, these are sounds that fade depending on where you are with lots of filtering rather than having one sound play as a bed type of sound when you enter a certain area that can sort of just fade across over a past couple of meters when you walk through an entrance. Enjoy the ambience of The Last of Us Part 2. Thank you for watching Cujo Sound's game audio talk about The Last of Us Part 2. My name is Bjørn Jacobsen, and if you liked this video, why not hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you want to know more about game audio, why not subscribe to the channel. If you want to support this channel, you can do so over at patreon.com/Cujo Sound, where you for as little as $1 a month can help me sustain this channel. I would really appreciate it. There's also the possibility of a mentorship program, joining the Cujo Sound Discord channel, and communities, and more over there. Check it out. Once again, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Bjørn Jacobsen of Cujo Sound, signing out.